Using filters in Smartsheet makes managing large data sets a lot easier. We can filter our list down to just those specific data sets that we want to see, and then we can save those filters for use later on. Click on filters and click off filters. Makes it real easy. So let's jump into Smartsheet and we'll see how filters work in Smartsheet. So we're back in our sheet here, our format cells sheet. And in this case, we've added a few columns. If you notice, we've used this sheet many times in many other videos. A couple of things to pay attention to. First thing is we have a primary column with some names in it. We have column number 2. This is kind of, you can look at this as company names. We have invoice dollar amounts. We have checkboxes, and then we have descriptions. So our filters can be set on any type of column that we have in Smartsheet. And what makes it really easy is that we can turn filters, we could set them one time and turn them on and turn them off really easily as well. So let's look at two different ways to create a filter. The first way we can create a filter is by clicking our filter button here on the icon list. The other way to create a filter is we can right click on our column and choose filter. What that does is it drops this column into our filter for it to be selected really easily. So let's do that first on our checkbox column. We'll right click on the checkbox column and choose filter. So you see our checkbox is automatically dropped into here for us. So that way it just takes one extra step out of creating a filter. So the first thing it asks you for when you create a new filter is the name of your filter. So in our case, we're just going to call this test just to make it really easy. Now, if we click the share filter button over here, anyone that accesses the sheet will also have access to the filter that we've created as well. Now, this makes sharing filters across teams and across team members really nice and easy. Keep in mind, if you check this off though, if you leave this checked off, no one else will see your filter except for you. It'll still be saved in your list and it'll only be available for you. So the next thing it asks is that which rows do we want to see that match the following conditions? Now we have two different options that we can use for multiple conditions. We can choose all conditions or we can choose at least one condition. So in our case, we're going to leave it as all conditions because we're just using one column to create this filter. So we want to see all of the rows where the checkbox is checked. That's true. And then if we had hierarchies set up where we had parent rows and child rows, we can include the parent rows as well, even if the child row matches our filter. For now, we're going to leave that off. And we're going to click the apply button. So our filter is automatically applied whenever we create this filter. So you can see we're only seeing the row now that has the checkbox on. If I wanted to turn this filter off very quickly, all I would do is hit this test and click it off. And then now we have no filter turned on. To access the filter that we just created, we can click the drop down next to this filter off. It says filter off now. And it'll give us a list of all of the filters that we've created for this sheet. This is really handy if, let's say your data set is really large and you're dealing with maybe service calls in certain states. If those states are indicated, then we can create a filter for each state, and then you can click your drop down and choose the state that you want to work with at that point in time for your sheet. Now, filters can also be looked at. You can also use reports for filters in the same type of way. I can draw the data out of my sheet and display it in my report, which is also filtered in the way that I want to see it. These are really nice because you don't have to jump back and forth between different Smartsheet assets. You could stay within the same sheet and manage your data and shrink it down to only the rows that you're interested in seeing. Okay, so if we wanted to edit our test filter, we can we hover over it and click on the pencil button here. We can copy it and then we can delete it as well. If we want to create a brand new one, we can create a new filter using this button. Or again, we can right click on any one of the columns and create a filter. One last thing about filters, keep in mind that when you filter the data, it's really only the view of the data that you're seeing. If I filter this data down just to my one checkbox checked on and I save the filter, or excuse me, if I save the sheet, then if I have another team member that comes back behind me, their data is not going to be filtered in the same way. They're going to see the sheet just as they left it last time, which is really nice because your filters don't affect the way that they are working. So if you like this video, it was really quick. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We've got a ton of videos that come out like this. Nice tips and tricks to make things a little bit easier for you in Smartsheet.